Very good morning, students. So, today we are going to deal with a new chapter, chapter number 16, Biodiversity and Conservation. So, students, as we studied before this chapter about the life on the earth, so according to that, we understood many more points regarding that diversity. So, here we'll understand about the biodiversity and conservation. So, here, students, first of all, will understand about the biodiversity. So, what is biodiversity? It is a combination of two words, bio and diversity. So, bio means life and diversity means variety. Thus, biodiversity is variety of life, plants and animals. In other words, we can say biodiversity refers to the varieties of plants, animals and all microorganisms. So next is about the evolution of biodiversity. So here students, it's really very important to know what is the evolution, because biodiversity is, as we have today, is the result of 2.5 to 3.5 billion years of evolution. We understood many more points regarding the emergence of humans. However, biodiversity has begun a rapid decline. So life on the earth has evolved over millions of years. It is resilient, but it needs space. Destruction of any part of the pattern of plant, animals or soil life results in the destruction of whole fabric of life. We need a world where there is a recovery of resources, there is continuation of species. So it is within the power of humans to make cultural adjustment that would be enhance the future patterns of life. Rapid decline in biodiversity since the emergence of humans. So you can see it's going on, right? So it declines. Facts. So there are some facts related to the biodiversity, about diversity. So biodiversity is not found evenly on the earth. It is richer in the tropics and then in the polar regions. Basic causes for biodiversity is the input of solar energy and water. And biodiversity is a system in constant evolution, both in terms of species as well as individual organism, right? So the average half life of the species is estimated between 1 and 4 million years. So 99% of the species that have ever lived on the earth today are extinct. It is not found evenly on the earth. It is richer in the tropics. So as we approach the polar regions, we find larger and larger population of fewer and fewer species. Next is the types of biodiversity. So here students, the biodiversities are divided in, there are three types. First is genetic diversity, and second is species diversity, and third is ecosystem diversity. So levels of biodiversity we can see here. Firstly, like ecosystem diversity, you can see here it's in the species diversity, and then is genetic diversity. So there are some levels of biodiversity: genetic diversity, species diversity, and then ecosystem diversity. As the students, in ecosystem diversity, that we can see it is reflected in diverse geographic zones. These zones are lakes, deserts and coast, estuaries, etc. So the conservation of these ecosystem is a major challenge for us in present situation. And if we talk about the species diversity, so we can see it is reflected by morphological, psychological and genetic feature. And then genetic diversity is comprises genetic or other variation within a species. Okay, so here you can see it refers to variety of genes within a species. Example, you can see human being, variation in color, height, size and physical appearance. And then you can see here that is the assorted colors of kernels in different varieties of corn are result of genetic diversity. Different varieties you can see. Species diversity, it is related to number of species within an area. So diversity can be measured through its richness and type. ecosystem diversity. So here, as I said, it is reflected in diverse biogeographical zone. Okay, so here these zones are lakes anywhere. So it refers to a variety of species found in an ecosystem. Next is the students about the hot spots. So hot spots are like, as we can see, hot spots are those areas which really on species rich ecosystems for food, firewood, croplands and income from timber. Okay, so here you can see. Next is ecological hotspots in the world. So if we see the in world map, so we can see biodiversity hotspots of the world. It is shown by the red color. So Central American highland, Central American lowland, Western Ghat in India, Eastern Himalaya, Peninsular Malaysia, Philippines. So here you can see clearly. Then we have Mega Diversity Center. So Mega Diversity centers, if we talk about this, so here we can see many more places like mm, there are 12 countries have Mega Diversity Centers, and here you can see first is China, India, and then we have Malaysia, Ecuador, Indonesia, Australia, Colombia, Congo, and then we have Peru, Madagascar, Mexico, Brazil. So there are 12 mega diversity centers. These centers, the tropical region poses a large number of the world species diversity. So they are called mega diversity center. Then we have endangered species. It is refers to those species which are in danger of extinction. Okay, so we have to conserve them, these animals. Next is vulnerable species. So vulnerable species, students, likely to be in danger of extinction in near future. Okay, so these you can say this is known as vulnerable species. Then we have rare species. So the population of species is very small. Number in the world is caused as rare species. Okay, their population is very small in the world, thinly scattered over large area and confined to limited areas. Okay, for example, you can see greater one horn rhinoceros, Nilgiri Thar, and Bengal tigers, Asiatic lion, black buck, lion-tailed, mosaic, snow leopard. So these are all in India. Then we have Palmyra tree. So there are some importance of biodiversity. So importance of biodiversity, students, it can be divided as ecological role of biodiversity, and then next is economic role of biodiversity, and then we have next is the scientific role of biodiversity. So here student will discuss it one by one about the importance of biodiversity. So students, in importance of biodiversity is expressed as under some of the points are there. Human culture has developed because of the biodiversity. Human communities have played a major role in shaping the biodiversity of nature at genetic, species and ecological levels. Next we have ecological role of biodiversity. So there are first is food chain, existence of life, purification of air, purification of water, maintain soil fertility, climatic control, aesthetic beauty, and it makes an ecosystem stable. Economic role of biodiversity. So economic role, if we talk about that, crop diversity means agro diversity, and concept of biological resource has caused a deterioration of biodiversity. So biodiversity, it provides us food, crops, livestock, forestry, medicinal resources. So these are the economic activities of number kind. Okay, so we can see provides food, shelter, industrial raw material, medicinal plants, tourism industries. Now next is scientific role of biodiversity. So students, biodiversity is an important resource in the day to day life of humans. So it helps in understanding the life functions and role of each species in sustaining various ecosystem. Okay, so help to understand how life functioning, awareness about the extinction of species. So there are some threats of to biodiversity. So here we'll discuss about the cause of loss of biodiversity. Loss of biodiversity. So here student, if we talk about the loss of biodiversity, so due to increase in human consumptions, the loss of species and their habitations has increased very rapidly, and tropical regions have 25% of the world area and contain 75% of the world population. Okay, so rapid increase in human requirements has resulted in over exploitation of resources and deforestation, and pesticides and other pollutants like hydrocarbons and heavy metals destroy weak species. So introduction of the exotic species cause heavy loss to endemic species. Okay, so there are many more causes behind it. So in short, we can say construction of canals, construction of roads, tourism developments, mining activities, changes in nature of agriculture, these are the cause of these loss of biodiversity. Even over exploitation of medicinal plant, environmental pollutants, growing international demand on trade of animals and plants, and next is improper management system. Next, we have biodiversity and its conservation. How to conserve? How can we conserve it? So, students, I'll discuss here, I'll tell you some points. The goal of conservation of biodiversity aims at allowing natural forces to maintain and evolve species. This will maintain, gain pools, and retain genetic traits. And we can say the concept of biodiversity conservation is not new to India, and the government of India along with the 155 plus other nations have signed the convention of biodiversity at the earth summit held at Rio de Janeiro, Brazil in June 1992. Okay, so next is conservation of biodiversity. So we have some points: preserve the species that are endangered, proper planning and implementation to protect extinction of species, variety, food, crops, plants, trees, animals should be protected, and each country should identify habitat for wildlife and regulation of international trade of plant and animals. Okay, we have one organization, it is International Organization for the Protection of Nature and Natural Resources. This is IUCN. So on 22 May 2013, International Day for Biological Diversity, Water and Biodiversity, it was an organization which was planned especially to conserve biodiversity. So there is a message, a student, to the students especially: I don't want to protect the environment, I want to create a world where the environment does not need protecting. So we have to conserve it by own self, because it is very important to conserve it. That's after that, if we will keep it safe, so obviously we do not need any plan and programs to conserve it. Okay, so students, thank you so much.